But to the viewer from Toronto who says, what's the most intense game you've ever been involved in? Viewers obviously watching on the Game Plus TV network.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't think you, or ma'am, I've needed police escorts out of facilities. I've needed police escorts out of cities. So you're going to need to define intense. I assume you mean on the playing field. I've been threatened in many facilities across this country, all because of my own actions. But was there a game more intense for you than the 2007 Grey Cup?
I think the Grey Cups in general, like I say 09 and 10 were big time Grey Cups too for me as far as intensity. But if you get away from the Grey Cups, I would say that rematch against Montreal,
Canada Day comeback.
Yeah, that 50, what was it, 51, 54, or 50, whatever. With 50 something to 50. That was just back and forth.
Triple overtime, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were down 3. We had another 13-man penalty that almost ruined the game for Saskatchewan again. Had great catches left and right. Everybody was, it was just, if you weren't a CFL fan and you watched that game, you would have been a CFL fan after that. That was the best, probably the best CFL game I've ever seen, been a part of. And it was intense. After we closed the gap before half, that second half was the most intense thing ever.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Right now.
Obviously, I'm friends with everybody around here. So one of the security people, you give them a badge, right? And they're big shot.
How about that?
Guy was bragging to me one night. He's like, I denied John Cornish getting into Ryderville. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Who cares if he wants to cut the line? Let him in. What the hell? I'm still mad about that 8 years later. Like, what are you doing?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Start spreading the news. The RP Show is live, I think, coming at you from the cloudy right now, South Florida studios. I hope we remain dry. Over the next 2 hours, the fastest 2 hours on television and radio, run Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, and, of course, the streams. Darren Moose DuPont joins us from Toronto, where it's opening night there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm going to jump into the sports topics in a second, other than to say our sports guests today have been a bit of a moving target, but I'm very pleased to report that Chad Minton will be joining us from the Catfish on Ice podcast. And he's a good one now. He covers the Nashville Predators on the Hockey Podcast Network, of which I'm a part of, with the Cats and Bolts podcast. We'll be going over the Preds' loss last night in Tampa, and just confirmed from Las Vegas, Nevada, Reed Johnson will be joining us for the Markcast. He went down there for the Seattle Kraken season opening game at Vegas, and he's got a report on that, plus some CFL happenings, Moose. So if we can, those are the guests. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? Get right down to business. Moose, I had this as the 1,098th show, and I see you have it as the 1,097th show. Any idea where we went awry?
You know, it must have been a while ago, because I go back through those show thumbnails as I make them, and I just go back to yesterday's and I add one. So somewhere along the line, one of us made a mistake.
It's probably me. It's probably me.
I don't know.
Okay, we got a lot of hockey and football to get at, but we're going to open with baseball. Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia homered early. Nathan Eovaldi struck out 7 over 7 innings in another series-clinching start, and the Texas Rangers completed an ALDS sweep of the Baltimore Orioles with a 7-1 victory Tuesday night. I smile because I'll tell you why. The Rangers are going to the American League Championship Series for the first time since 2011. Baltimore won an American League high 101 games and was never swept in a series during the regular season, and then they were in the playoffs. If anybody ever wants to know why we love the playoffs so much in sports, it's because it's an entirely new season. We see it time after time. And this morning, I saw an analyst saying this on ESPN Sports Center. It wasn't a bad season for the Orioles. They won 101 games. They won the pennant. So no, it wasn't a bad season. Does winning matter anymore? Please tell me, Darren, does it matter?
I know. Like, when you have a 101 win season, it should be World Series or bust. Like, and it's the same thing in the NHL. I know the President's Trophy is the ultimate kiss of death, right, for a team going into the playoffs. But you should want to finish first. The expectation should be Stanley Cup when you're that good all season long. Something happens though, man. Playoffs are anything can happen in the playoffs, and that's why we love sports.
Well, hey, yes. And we're jumping at it right out of the gate. And as the people that watch this show and listen to this show every day, their show's different. And I got stories. I got a million. I remember one time we won a pennant with a hockey team that I was with. And we lost out. We toe-picked it in the first round of the playoffs and lost out in round one. And we had won a pennant the regular season, and then we lost in a 5-game first-round series. Our coach left. He actually went to I don't want to say which NHL team that he went to, but he texted me the start of the upcoming season. And he goes, "How was the banner-raising ceremony?" I texted him back, "We didn't raise one because we got our lunch handed to us in the playoffs." We were still so embarrassed 4 or 5 months later that we didn't even put up the pennant from the year before. But now it's, no, they had a great season. You don't understand. It's just as long as everybody had fun. Why keep score? Jose Abreu hit a 3-run homer for Houston in a 4-run first inning and piled on with a 2-run shot in the 9th to power the visiting Astros past the Minnesota Twins 9-1 Tuesday night. The Astros lead the best-of-5 AL Division Series 2-1. That's enough baseball I want to talk about. To point two, it was a night of firsts for North Vancouver's Connor Bedard as the Chris Sanford canceled on our lunch today. Connor Bedard, as the rookie recorded his first NHL point in his first pro game and picked up his first win as the Chicago Blackhawks defeated the host Pittsburgh Penguins 4-2 in the season opener for both squads. Corey Perry, Jason Dickinson, Ryan Donato, and Cole Gutman scored for the Hawks. Bedard assisted on Donato's marker. He and Sidney Crosby finished tied for points. Sid had a goal. Connor had an apple. One across the board. And to be honest, I saw your tweet that you're finding it hard staying up out here on the East Coast for these 10 o'clock starts. Here's a little hint, Grasshopper. Don't go to bed. Just get up early in the morning and catch all the highlights. That's what I do. It's okay. You'll figure it out. I waited for Bedard, did notch the assist. Serena called from Texas. She was about to go to bed. I said, "You're calling it a great time." Connor just notched his assist, and I can go to bed now. And Chicago turned it on after that. I was actually shocked to see that they won. But he led all Blackhawks forwards in time on ice. And Bob's your uncle, man. He's a star. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, I watched every shift, actually, of every game. I pulled the late night shift. But you know what? The game was good. It was really good. The overall game, it was fast. There was chances at both ends. And the one thing is, I thought Bedard looked very comfortable. You noticed every time he was on the ice, he involves himself in the play. As you know, when he has the puck on his stick, he's waiting to make plays. He was aggressive. He had, I think, 5 or 6 shots, but like 11 shot attempts. He was really buzzing. And he's getting a lot of respect, too, on that penalty, on the power play, the Pens penalty kill. They had a guy shadowing him. That's how much respect Connor's getting already. So it was a lot of fun. And when he got that point, that was a pretty cool moment, too.
Hey, hang on. Joe Lazito writes in from Long Island. He says, "Roddy, I know it's your time with Moose, but I have to head back to work. Winning used to be the only thing, but now winning is just another prop to promote a player's brand. Have a great day, boys." You too, Joe Lozito.
How about
That's the way
that?
John Lynch says it. So that's why I say it the way John Frenzy says it. If I thought that I could get a hold of John Frenzy via phone, I would, the Hall of Fame Rough Riders broadcaster, but all it would be John crying into the phone, because that's what it was the last time over the state of the Rough Riders, and I'm not sure that I want to be brought down to that degree. If there was anything else Lynch could talk about, I would, but there's nothing else he's interested in. Ryan O'Radio checking in from WQEE. He says, time for Atlanta's NHL and CFL show, the RP show. And just one from the Peanut Gallery. John in Edmonton writes in and says, Connor Bedard wasn't anything special yesterday. I think he's going to be sent down to the farm team to get some more practice.
Hot take.
And for that, John in Edmonton, you're getting a 10-minute misconduct.
Yes.
And any more stupid comments like that, you're out of the game. Yes, what? What?
He has to be joking. No, you teed him up. I love it. A 10. That was great. He has to be joking. Connor Bedard was the best player on the ice last night. We're right there with
He's
it.
quarterbacking. He's quarterbacking the power play, John. At 18. So go have a nap. But you know what? You're in the penalty box for actually 2 hours. You're not going to get any more comments today. And I want you to think about your actions. What else? Jen from the Four Seasons checking in, and she says, good morning, everyone. Connor did fabulous last night. Yes, he did. He never lets us down. He's as, what was the Howard Cosell line that you love so much?
He's constant as the Northern Star.
He's as constant as the Northern Star. Connor Bedard.
How about that?
Nicholas Paul had 2 power play goals. I thought he was a YouTube MMA fighter.
Jake and Logan Paul.
Oh, okay. I got the wrong Paul.
This
okay.
is like
he related.
I don't know if you saw this on social. Sorry, sidebar. They had a thing where Crosby and Bedard had to answer questions about pop culture. Do you know what this was? Do you know who was drafted first in the NBA draft? Finish the lyric to this song, right? And you could tell the different age demographic. So this was just that. You know, who are the Paul brothers?
Victor,
Play hockey versus social media.
Victor Wembanyama was the number 1 pick of the NBA draft. And I saw the highlights of the preseason last night in the NBA, and I was like, there are a few things I care less for than NBA preseason basketball. Nikita Kucherov scored a pair, including an empty netter, and Braden Point had 3 assists as the Tampa Bay Lightning opened their NHL regular season on Tuesday with an exciting 5-3 win over the visiting Nashville Predators. Brandon Hagel of Saskatoon Sask, glad you asked, also scored for the Lightning on a penalty shot. We'll be getting in more into that game with Chad Minton later on this hour from the Catfish on Ice podcast. I'll say this. I watched that one, and I'm like, the Preds didn't have a shot on goal for the first 7 minutes of the game. And I'm like, who needs Vazzy if they're not going to give up any shots? John Cooper, who's from Prince George, BC, and is a former Notre Dame Hound, John Cooper said, we're going to limit shots against and scoring opportunities against. And that's what they did last night. Other NHL teams will have that figured out in a week, but it worked last night against Nashville. And Vegas raised a banner before their 4-1 win over Seattle. And this was funny. On the ESPN panel, were you watching ESPN or Sportsnet last night?
ESPN. Sportsnet had the ESPN feed too.
Oh, did you see? I think it was Mark Messier talking about the Golden Knights Stanley Cup rings, and if any, I would assume all of Canada's seen that the Golden Knights got their Stanley Cup rings on Monday, and if you unscrew the top of it, it's the rink in the ring. Did you see that? It's a model of the rink. You saw that? I think it was Messier said, did you see the size of that? And they got a rink inside. They could play the Winter Classic inside that rink. Hilarious. We'll be talking about the Vegas game later on with Reed Johnson from the Mark Cast. He was there. Our hockey coverage is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. Head down to the tap room, 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. Thursday through Saturday, noon to 8 p.m. Check out Common Crown Brewing Company at commoncrown.ca. Don't worry, CFL fans. We're getting to you. It'll be next segment. You can put it in your back pocket and leave it there. CFL will be segment 2 of hour 1 until the end of the season. But we got to get to what the majority rules. What everybody cares about. The NHL tonight, point 3. I'm reading from the Wire copy. All 7 Canadian teams will play their season openers tonight in the NHL. The Leafs open their campaign against the rival Montreal Canadiens at Toronto Scotiabank Arena. The Ottawa Senators battle the Hurricanes in Carolina. The Vancouver Canucks host the Edmonton Oilers, and the Winnipeg Jets start the season against the Calgary Flames at the Saddledome. We can sit and talk about all those games, and I think we will over the course of this program. Sorry, I had some cereal jump up into my throat there. I don't know why.
Oh, no.
We've been going through a lot of cereal this week. I would rather talk about this in the time we have left in this segment. It's the start of another NHL season, and again, hope springs eternal among pro-line bettors for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Edmonton Oilers. According to the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation, Canadian teams are among the top 5 favorites among bettors to win the Stanley Cup this season. So this isn't the odds makers saying this. These are the actual people laying money down. This is what they're betting on. Toronto last captured the NHL championship in 1967. For the Oilers, it was 1990. The other clubs included the Pittsburgh Penguins, Carolina Hurricanes, and New Jersey Devils. And aside from that, not surprisingly, Edmonton captain Connor McDavid's among the favorites to win the Hart Trophy. Ontario bettors also like Jack Hughes, Austin Matthews, Connor Bedard, and Nathan McKinnon. Stop the presses. They're putting money down on Bedard being the MVP of the NHL season this year. Like, I would not put money on that. Would you?
No, maybe next year. But I think Rookie of the Year, sure. I think he could be a top 10 scorer in the NHL this year. It could happen. But MVP, no, I don't think he's going to catch McDavid.
No, come on. Okay, John from Edmonton writes in. He says, Moose and Rod, I was joking. Okay, well, you got to be careful because it doesn't come across in print. Sarcasm and jokes don't come across in print. You got to be very careful with that. Jen from the Four Seasons says, on a different note, the announcers doing the Tampa Bay game put everyone to sleep here. It was awful. Disagree respectfully. John Buccigross called the game. Historically known for his Frozen Four NCAA play-by-play, and I thought he was great. And as a guy that's called literally thousands of games, I'd like to think my opinion counts. I thought he was awesome. Kevin the Medium says, was anyone else irritated by the names above the players during power plays last night? It drove me crazy. Yes, I'm the old man yelling at the clouds. Try to block that out. You're welcome. It's no different than the video games we used to play. You know that they put the names over.
It's exactly like the video games. And it wasn't bad. The only thing that was cool was you want to see where Bedard is, right? And Crosby. So when they're on the ice, I like the name bar coming up over those two because you want to be, oh, they're on the ice. That was kind of neat.
We got a lot to get to. And hey, my buddy Vaughn, was I talking to you about my buddy Vaughn, my childhood friend? My last time in Calgary, like my last month there, we connected. We're best friends as kids. I talked to you about Vaughn, right? Hey, he texted me, and he said, who's going to be the first one to bring up Bedard's face-off stats on your show tomorrow? He said this last night. It's Randy from Winnipeg. He says, Bedard looked good. He's going to need to work on his face-offs, 2 for 11. We got a winner, Vaughn. It's Randy from Winnipeg. Had to bring it up. He had to poop on the parade.
Oh, no.
I wonder if you could have bet on that at Bet Regal.
Oh, man. Well, let's put it up. Vaughn will love that we mentioned his name on here. Oh, hey. Thank you, John in Edmonton. You've really redeemed yourself, John in Edmonton. He's written in with a question, and he says, thoughts on the Pride tape not being allowed anymore in the NHL? I got a few. We'll get to that. CFL Canada's Game of the Week. Bill Belichick's ass may be grass in New England. And remember where you heard it first. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
They're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Looking at the sky, it's because it's about to rain, and I did not put the top on the Jeep. Approved. Let's bring the Moose in now.
But are you near any electrical outlets? Any cords lying around?
Oh, I got that all handled. No. I got everything up off the ground. I figured that one out a year ago.
Yeah.
But if I take off in the middle of this, it's because I had to cover the Jeep. Okay, Moose? You can handle it.
Okay.
Brian Burker's weighed in on the Pride rainbow tape thing, and I'll get to that in a second. But people did show up for the CFL talk. They do that every day here. Nobody talks more CFL than us. We're the CFL's favorite talk show. I deny anybody to argue that or give us proof that we're not. And our CFL coverage is brought to you in part by Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beer. Check them out at sobercarpenter.com. And I want to thank the CFL fans for rallying and supporting Sober Carpenter. You heard me say earlier, they sold them out in Calgary, and they sold them out in Regina. They had to amp up production, Sober Carpenter told us, because of you people. So thank you. Canada's game of the week in the CFL shouldn't be close. We're getting very close to games not meaning much, end of the regular season, right? And just getting ready for playoff. Darren, your options are these. BC Lions at Hamilton, Friday night. Also Friday night, Sask at Calgary. Saturday, Montreal at Edmonton, and Ottawa at Toronto. Half these games don't mean anything. So for me, it's
only one.
Absolute runaway. Hey?
There's only one.
There's only one.
Only one that matters. Right?
Sask at Calgary.
Like playoffs are on the line. Yes, playoffs are on the line. You know, this is big. I mean, completely changes the landscape. I don't think we're worried about playoffs in the East or the other spots. And I know, you know, better teams make more entertaining games. That's not always the case. This game means something. So I think, yeah, it shouldn't be close. It was almost a formality to even have a poll, I thought, today. But hey, maybe the fans think otherwise, and that's why we do it.
What are they saying on YouTube, Clark? What's the body vote there? Yeah, 61% say Sask at Calgary. I'm sorry, my mind went somewhere when what did you say? Big games make great polls, or what did you say?
Well, no, better teams usually make for good games, but that's not always the case. Right? When you get two teams fighting it out at the bottom of the standings, that can be just as entertaining. You know, I get it. They're the basement dwellers, so people might say, "Oh, it's not going to be entertaining. I'd rather watch BC play or Toronto or whoever." But there's a lot on the line, and historically, it's been a great rivalry, so it should be fun.
Okay, it's good. It's good. The reason my mind went somewhere because there's a song where my mind went. From 1977 by Ronnie McDowell, and it says, older women make good lovers. And a lot of people will be listening and watching this going, yeah, remember that song? Yeah. Did you say older women make good lovers? Darren, is that what you said? That's not what you said, but that's what I heard. Now,
I get it. You don't need to explain it. I get it.
No, you get it. Ask Joe Namath. 902-518-3033, the number to text us right here in the studio.
If you want to sponsor the show, that's 902-518-3033.
518. Why wouldn't they want to sponsor the show, Captain Pfizer? You interrupted me.
I know, I'm sorry.
God bless the CFL for a million reasons. But, you know, they we get the news releases, we get the game notes. I was in the league for 20 years, but I've been out of the league for 5, but I still get all the wonderful information. And I was looking at the playoff scenarios news release yesterday, and I'm like, it's right here in black and white. All Sask has to do is win one game. One game is all they got to do to clinch. And even their own fans are sitting there going, they're going to screw this up. They're not going to win Friday at Calgary because wants it more. And they're not going to win the next week because that's the way that it's going.
Spicy.
When you look at it in black and white, Darren, it seems really easy. All you got to do is win a game. And in my mind, I can see Chris Jones. In my mind, I heard from one of the Elks people today. They're fine. They're not getting fired. You tell me we can't win one game? You know how you used to say, if we can't get a yard. It looks a lot easier on paper than it is on a football field. You know what I mean? It's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I know. And you get out there and then your mind starts playing tricks and you start doubting and when you start playing not to make a mistake and We just got to get one win. And it's like, okay, well, if we don't get it today, we can get it next week. And you start having that mentality. All of a sudden, you're in the fourth quarter of the last game and you're down by 14. You're like, oh my gosh, now you're getting really tight. And what do? Right? It's made a lot of people very uneasy in the rectangle. That's for sure.
Brian in Hudson Bay, the Moose Capital, writes in and says, I wish Sask would realize their game is game of the week. The way they've been bringing it the last 4 games or so, they don't even want to be here anymore. Most of them, not all. That's from Brian in Hudson's Bay. Kirk in Toronto, watching on Game Plus, writes that he says, hey, Rod, MLSE spending $350 million to renovate Scotiabank Arena. How about blue seats at BMO Field? RP show number 1 for CFL talk. It's not a high bar to hit, but thank you. Bart Hunter. Remember me talking about the Money Hunter in a recent show? Yep. Was that just yesterday? Former Pats goaltender. Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh, my God, time's flying. He was watching in Edmonton. Bart Hunter, the Money Hunter, backstopped the Regina Pats Gods team to their last WHL championship. He writes in and says, thanks for the comments, Rod. I ended up with COVID, so was unable to attend the reunion last week. I've moved back to Edmonton and really enjoying it. Hope all is well with you. All the best. From Bart Hunter. He had just an iconic mask. One of the reasons I fell in love with playing goal was because of Bart Hunter's mask. Probably won't. It's a goalie thing. Okay. Moose.
Yes.
Longtime NHL executive Brian Burke says the league's decision to ban on-ice support for community causes, which includes the use of rainbow-colored stick tape on Pride nights, is, quote, a surprising and serious setback. The NHL sent a memo to teams last week clarifying what players can and cannot do as part of theme celebrations this season. The updated guidance reaffirms on-ice player uniforms and gear for warm-ups and official team practices cannot be altered. Burke, the executive director of the Professional Women's Hockey League Players Association, said on social media that he is, quote, deeply disappointed by the league's decision, unquote. Listen, I've learned the hard way. I'm not going to fight the NHL's battle. I'm not their PR guy. However, what I will say is they're not anti-gay. You know what they are? Anti-controversy. And I'm a little annoyed that we're talking about this 7-8 months after I thought putting it to bed. To use a quote from the farm, they'd love to be able to put the horse back in the trailer. Put that horse back in the trailer. Let's forget we even took him out. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not anti-gay. They're inclusive. They are, but they don't want the fight. Do you see that's what I think, Darren. And I'm pro-LGBT, as are you. We both have members of that community in our family. I'm inclusive, as are you. Shouldn't speak for you, but in this case, I will. The NHL's not anti-gay. And they're just taking it on the chin right now, is what I think. And then maybe you don't agree.
No,
agree or disagree?
I agree and I agree and I disagree. Because when you say anti-controversy, you're right. Right? They're anti-controversy because the one side to look at it, when you keep, politics and any controversial topic like racism and, sexual orientation and anything controversial out of the game, ratings go up. Okay? We've seen that in multiple leagues. The NFL, we've seen it now when they don't get into it. We've seen it in other leagues, and we see ratings go down when it becomes about something other than the game, right? That term, shut up and dribble, it sucks, but it's kind of real, right? Colin Kaepernick starts kneeling. The cause was noble. Everything was great, but now nobody wants Colin Kaepernick, okay? They like the cause, but they don't want him anymore, right? We saw it with outside of sports with award shows. Like the Grammys and the Oscars and the award shows. Everybody made a speech about politics and about different causes, and it became about that, and the ratings went down. It became less about movies and music and more about that. Ratings went down. sports is our escape. So I get what the NHL is trying to do. The tough part is this kind of isn't that, because now you're not trying to get rid of the distraction. You're becoming the distraction by telling people they can't do something that's an inclusive thing, which is showing people that they're welcome in the league. We're starting to see players come out as gay in different professional sports leagues, and we're starting to move towards a more inclusive locker room, and this kind of puts the brakes on that. So I get what they're trying to do, but this has just been a misstep by the league the whole way.
They should have never done it in the first place. Would you agree with me on that? They should have never even gone down this road.
Right. Let the players, if the players want to put tape on, let them do what they want, right? The organized nights, I think you stay away from and things like that, and you just let the players do what they want to do. But when you ban them from doing it, I think that's a problem.
Yeah. It's just I'm so glad
delicate.
I'm not working in sports anymore. It is very delicate. I mean, is Chad Minton logged in yet, Clark? He is? Okay. We'll push this discussion to hour 2. Because believe it or not, I'm sure you're not shocked. I got more thoughts. But Chad Minton, and you're going to love him, by the way, from the Catfish on Ice podcast. I do. He's a good one. Covers the Predators. And we'll talk about... Thanks, Moose. We'll see you next hour. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's the show with the most, and we're talking NHL in opening week. On night one, Nicholas Paul had 2 power play goals. Nikita Kucherov scored a pair, including an empty netter. Braden Point had 3 assists, and the Tampa Bay Lightning knocked off the visiting Nashville Predators 5-3 at Amalie Arena. Ryan O'Reilly, Tommy Novak, and Juuso Parssinen scored for the Preds. Chad Minton was there. I know because I follow his social media from the Catfish on Ice podcast. And you were so excited for that game, Chad. I don't know how confident you were going in, but how did you feel about that season opener for the Preds?
I mean, obviously, I hate the result, but that was one of the probably top 5 best live NHL game experiences I've ever been to, just as a fan, just from a pure fan's perspective. The atmosphere was just so amazing. The fans were gracious, but they knew their hockey. Well, not a ton of Predators fans there. I thought normally Predators fans travel a little bit better. I felt a little lost in a sea of blue and white last night, but it was a great experience.
You were easy to pick out.
Very easy to pick out. And then the game itself, Rod, was just a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, you go into that third period, and the first 3 minutes of the third period go from the Predators taking all of the momentum out of the sails of the Lightning. They go 2-1. And then not even 3.5 minutes later of game time, the Lightning get a penalty shot and retake the lead. I mean, you want to talk about a crazy swing of emotions and momentum in a very short amount of time.
Well, it doesn't take much, and I felt bad for Luke Schenn because he was the guilty party in the penalty shot. Yeah, I watched it all, and I was thinking about you because, listen, I was on your show last week, and I want to tell the world, the Hockey Podcast Network, of which you're one, with the Catfish on Ice podcast, you guys have been so great to us. Our Cats and Bolts podcast, Serena and I wanted to return the favor. You do a great job, and you know the game, Chad. So I'll say it again, Catfish on Ice podcast, he does a great job. But you were going to that game, they didn't have Vasilevsky in net, and I was like, you guys didn't have a shot for the first 7 minutes of the game. I'm like, who needs Vazzy if you're not going to give up any shots? How did you feel about that?
It was... I'm telling you, I give credit to the Lightning. I mean, it was really difficult for the Predators to do what they want to do under head coach Andrew Burnett now, which is way different than what John Hines did for the Predators as head coach. The Predators want to find that stretch pass. They want to push the tempo up. And that first period, I think the Predators their passing was a little bit off. Their timing was a little bit off. Credit to the Lightning, a veteran team with some really good defensemen. And they just made it really hard on the Predators getting set up, getting good looks, 2 shots on goal in the first period. You're going to pretty much lose on every occasion when you open up a game that way. But they settled in that second period. They got 13. They outshot Tampa 13-5, I believe. So they kept it at that 1-0 score, kept plugging along, and then finally they cracked through. That was one of the most gorgeous goals I've seen the Predators score in a long time. Stretch pass from Ryan McDonough. He finds Forsberg. Forsberg with some beautiful stick handling and finds a crashing Ryan O'Reilly to get this game tied up. That was one of the prettiest goals I've seen the Predators score in a while.
Well, look, more than that about the game, I want to talk about Preds fandom and your involvement with that. I get so much out of chatting with people like yourself, and I want our audience to understand, because I think you speak for their fan base. One thing you said was, we've never had a star. And I've been thinking about that as a franchise. And I've had Minnesota Wild media and fans say the same thing. We've never had a cover of NHL 2021 video game from our team. You know, who's come the closest to that in 20-some years? And yeah, go ahead.
So PK Subban actually was on the cover for NHL video game, but he was not here for very long. Yeah, I know what you mean. I would say, obviously Pecorine reigns supreme. He's always going to be the top of the mountain when it comes to Preds fandom and having a star player. They gave him a statue in front of Bridgestone Arena that's beautiful. If you're coming down as a visiting fan, go check out Pecorine's statue. It's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, Roman Yossi's certainly up there. We want Philip Forsberg to take that next step forward. We think he still has time. He's still in the prime of his career. We want to see Forsberg finally jump ahead and be considered one of those top tier wingers in the league, but he's still got a ways to go, but he looked pretty good last night. So, I mean, we're looking at this young crop of current Predators right now, like Juuso Parssinen, who got a goal last night. I mean, these are the future. This is the future of the franchise, and it's mostly at the forward position with Luke Evangelista and Juuso Parssinen, Thomas Novak, who scored last night as well. So it's a blend of veterans and young players. That's what Barry Trotz said he wanted to do. And so we'll see how it results. Some people think the Predators are going to make the playoffs. Some people don't think the Predators are going to make the playoffs. They're right there on that cusp. So it's going to be, I think they passed, even though they lost last night to the Lightning. I think they, for the most part, showed that they can play with anyone in this league on a nightly basis, especially when they start to get more comfortable under this new head coach, Andrew Brunette.
Well, I'm one of those ones that has them picked to make the playoffs. I'm a believer in the moves that they made. And Barry Trotz being in charge of the whole deal. Let's talk about that. He's a former Regina Pat, God's team, Winnipeg product. How do you feel about what Barry Trotz could do for the Nashville Predators as GM?
I absolutely love everything he's done so far. I like that he's not playing the cautious approach here. He went in, he identified there was problems that need to be fixed in terms of being aggressive. I don't think anyone expected him to go out and sign as many veterans as he did in the offseason, but I definitely like the Ryan O'Reilly edition. I mean, and you get him for $4.5 million AAV. It's not like they went out and completely overpaid for this guy. And the intangibles that a Ryan O'Reilly brings to your team cannot even be measured. So I think that Trotz is looking at this as not a rebuild, but definitely a retool. They like to use that term as well, a retool. So the Predators are trying to definitely stick around in the playoff race, but at the same time, realizing they've really got to push these younger players up and give them the minutes and let them be the future of this team eventually. But until we get to that point, you've kind of got a bridge with Ryan O'Reilly and some of the other veterans that they signed over the offseason.
Chad Minton with us from the Catfish on Ice podcast. I follow the Predators real closely for a lot of reasons. I got a lot of friends living in Nashville, the team. And as I mentioned on your show, Brett Wilson, one of the owners, is a really good friend of mine and another Saskatchewan guy. But my last question for you is, I've been to games at Bridgestone Arena, and I'm assuming you're a day one Preds fan. You can tell by your accent you're a Tennessee guy. What's with the chants in the arena? When they started chanting, I was caught off guard, and then I was like, what are they saying, and how did this come about?
Really, really cool story. I don't have the exact year, but it was certainly within the first few years of the team being around in Nashville, and it's called Cell Block 303. It was a group of season ticket holders that were in Section 303. They started calling it Cell Block 303, and they just started coming up with all these different chants, and throughout the years, they stuck. And so it's almost like being at a soccer game with some of these chants that you'll hear at a Predators game if you've never been. And, sometimes the opposing fans don't like it. It gets under their skin a little bit, but that's all part of the home atmosphere, right?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. It just took me a while to get a hold of what exactly is going on, because you don't see that at a hockey game very often. Chad, where can people listen to the Catfish on Ice podcast?
All right, so we are on part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and we can catch us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms. We have a YouTube channel as well where we stream all of our episodes live. We also upload exclusive video content as well on there, so you can find us on YouTube, and you can follow us on X at Catfish Ice, also on Facebook and on Instagram.
Chad, you do a great job. Thanks for being so nice and welcoming to us, and have a great season. We'll chat again soon.
We will. Thanks. Appreciate it, Rod. Take care.
Chad Minton from the Catfish on Ice podcast. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover after this. You're watching on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Keep it on, rocket in the free world here on the RP Show. Glad to have you with us, everybody. We'll get to your comments and questions in a moment. I see my guy Jack has checked in from Calgary, actually Vulcan, Alberta, and he says, looking forward to the Stamps Riders game, the biggest game of the season for both. Calgary more so, says Jack. We did. I'll update for those who just tuned in. Segment 2, Hour 1, every day is going to be the CFL segment. Just so you all know, because I know there's literal millions of CFL fans, but you need to know there's millions of people that aren't. So we're not going to talk about it all show, but we will talk about it a lot. Dougal Cameron in Calgary writes in on the 902 text line, and he says the Riders Stamps game should be called the Dickinson Bowl. The winner gets his job next year.
Hot damn!
So pause that for 1 second. We have breaking news on this Wednesday. Less than a year after leading the New Jersey Devils to their best regular season, Coach Lindy Ruff has signed a multi-year contract extension. General Manager Tom Fitzgerald announced the signing today, a day before the Devils opened the season at home against Detroit. Fitzgerald had said before the start of training camp that management wanted to give the 63-year-old Ruff a new contract, but he simply had not gotten around to working out a new deal. How's that for making somebody feel valued? Yeah, we'll get to you when we get to you. Coach of the Year last year, but sad news, Brendan Malone, father of Denver Nuggets coach Michael Malone, the first ever head coach of the Toronto Raptors, and a driving force behind the Detroit Pistons' bad boys defenses in the late 80s and early 90s, has died at age 81. Malone spent 3 decades as an assistant or head coach in the NBA, working for the Knicks, Pacers, Cavaliers, Magic, Raptors, and Pistons. He also served as the lead assistant for his son with the Sacramento Kings. And I'll say this. Listen, people help me out. The Raptors came to Saskatoon, I think, mid to late 90s. Again, you got to help me out. But I remember watching them in a neutral site preseason game when Brendan Malone was the head coach. Remember seeing him up close and personal. I'm like, that's a sports guy. That's a basketball guy. And I think of all those things he's known for, obviously being his son's father, the reigning NBA champs, Denver Nuggets. Being the first head coach of the Raptors is pretty cool, wouldn't you think? So condolences to the Malone family. He's remembered. Our sports update is brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. What up? Okay. 902-518-3033, the number to reach us in the studio, the Florida studio, where, as you see, the sun has come out. Bomber Boy is watching on Game Plus TV in Calgary right now, and he says Bomber fans will be paying close attention to the BC versus Hamilton game this week, hoping that the Ticats can do us one last favor. Yeah, that's the thing. Mental math right now. That's what I didn't like about this time of year in the CFL, just the math involved, because last minute of play in hour 1. As you all know, I suck at math. So I just know this. What it all boils down to is just win your games and you don't got to worry. In sports for years, we've called it the scoreboard watching, right? And back in the day, I've been doing this so long, we would climb on the bus and the dang coaches would grab a newspaper to see who won last night. That's how old How old are you, Rod? I'm so old that we used to have to read the newspaper to find out what happened last night. And the best coaches wouldn't even look at the newspaper because the best coaches knew we just got to win our games. It doesn't matter what the other teams are doing. And the losingest coaches were fixated on what everybody else was doing and what everybody else was saying. There's a lesson in there somewhere. Hour 2 coming up, and Reed Johnson from Vegas after this brief pause.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now. Obviously, I'm friends with everybody around here. So one of the security people, you give them a badge, right? And they're big shot.
How about that?
Guy was bragging to me one night. He's like, I denied John Cornish getting into Ryderville. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Who cares if he wants to cut the line? Let him in. What the hell? I'm still mad about that 8 years later. Like, what are you doing?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is, and welcome to a brand new hour. Hours of the RP Show are like snowflakes or fingerprints. No two are the same. That is a guarantee. And because we're gonna move on to some new topics here. I'm coming to you from the Florida studio. Moose is in the Toronto studio, and away we go as we set sail on your favorite daytime sports talk show. However, wherever, and whenever you are enjoying the program. Moose, hold up your coffee cup there. Hold it up. Show everybody. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, it's the Leafs and the Canadians. Everybody, we put to bed last night's games. We talked about Connor Bedard. We talked about the Lightning beating the Preds. A little later on this hour, Reed Johnson will join us. And that is in the third segment, Clark. I know you know that. From Vegas, he's the host of the Markcast, and he talks Seattle Kraken hockey. He was there. Kraken lost 4-1 in Vegas. Before I get to these questions, because people are incessantly writing in, they want their questions answered. And while I don't really like to capitulate and play ball when people do that, in a way I probably should, because they are our audience. But I'd love to know your take on the Leafs Habs game tonight it's at Scotiabank Arena, right? I didn't get to tonight's games yet. I wanted to last hour. How bad is it going to be tonight, Moose? How bad are the Leafs going to throttle them tonight?
No, it's like any other sport. You get into a rivalry game and you can throw the odds, you can throw the stats, you can throw everything out the window. Montreal and Toronto will always be good. It's going to be fun. This what's great is last night felt like opening night. We got to see Bedard and Crosby. We got to see the banner raising in Vegas. And everybody, and some people wondered, well, where's the Canadian teams? Well, that made that night special. This feels almost like Act 2 of opening night, right? Now it's the Canadian teams.
Oh, yeah.
Get their start. So we'll be gathered around the televisions tonight for more hockey. It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a fun game. And the one cool story with the Western Canadian angle for me is Fraser Minton has made the team, at least for opening day. The Kamloops Blazers forward is going to center, I believe, the third line, maybe for Toronto tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun as he had a great camp, great preseason. We don't see a lot of position battles won in camp, but there's one unexpected. The kid from the Kamloops Blazers has made the opening night roster.
Yeah, we got some good stuff here. Oh, boy. Try, Darren, this will be your task, to rein me in. Okay?
Okay.
Because I got a million things going on in this scrambled noggin here right now, and a lot of questions coming in from people, too. Ryan in Toronto writes in, and he says, since we're talking mugs today, the mug from the RP shop is excellent. I recommend it. I should get mine out here, too. That is a good mother. That's the one of the games we're following tonight. We tried to get AJ Jakubic on from TSN 1200 Ottawa because the Sens were at the Hurricanes. He's not available today. He's coming on tomorrow. It seems like every game we need to back up from the ledge here because it's game 1 of 82. Okay?
I know.
Now, Jay in Winnipeg, love him. He watches this every day. And he writes that, he says, I love Rick Bowness's energy and personality, but I just don't see him as the coach the Jets need to take the next step in progression. We need a younger, hungrier bench boss. And then refers to tonight's game in the Saddle Dome as the Battle of Atlanta. Flames versus Jets, formerly Thrashers. That's for you, Ryan O'Radio, listening, and everybody in Georgia, WQEE. Oh, I really need you to rein me in, Darren. But I will just say this. They hadn't even played a game, and you're dumping on Rick Bowness. Don't do this, Winnipeg. Don't do this. Darren, you said you were going to cut the clip yesterday on the Jets. I'm still waiting for it, where I said there's absolutely no reason for anybody in Winnipeg to be negative today or yesterday or Monday with the extensions of Scheifele and Hellebuck. There's no reason. You can't dump on your general manager. You can't dump on the players. And Rick Bowness is doing his best, too. And here they haven't even played a game, and you're dumping on Rick Bowness. Don't do that. I'm calling you on your junk, Winnipeg. Lose tonight, different story. Come back here tomorrow. We'll have a discussion. Don't dump on them now. That's not, I don't want that. I don't want to hear that. Now, why
it's sandbagging.
Is this...
Right?
Go ahead.
They're sandbagging.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, it's almost like it's a defense mechanism. You know, we're not going to be confident and go in and say and be excited and optimistic. We're going to start dumping on them. So when we eventually lose, we can say, we told you and we knew the coach wasn't going to win. So you can't make me feel bad. I'm already hurt. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's the hot girl. I'd ask you to go out with me, but there's no way a girl like you would go out with a guy like me.
Yeah.
How about that?
You turn yourself down so that she doesn't turn you down. Like,
we're gonna
not healthy.
Our coach is too old. Our coach is too old.
Yeah.
Don't take that stuff out of here. Now, why I have that, I don't know. Why I don't want to spend any more time on tape than we have to. Jersey Jim's watching on Altus Cable right now in New Jersey. And he wrote me about the NHL's edict that you can't stray away from your uniforms or tape and warm up for any causes. I don't think they specifically singled out LGBT, but I think we all know what they were talking about. And Jersey Jim writes in and says, what if nobody reported that players didn't want to wear the jerseys? Maybe it's still in place, the Pride Night and the tape, similar to Kaepernick taking a knee. Maybe he's still playing. Maybe. Again, my opinion.
But Gary has always stated, do it on your own time. I'm going, I'm like everybody else. I just want to talk about the games. And so that we're going to get back to that. The gentleman asked, who do I think is going to win tonight, Flames or Jets? Who's going to make the playoffs, Riders or Stamps? And I'll get to that. But this is what, and I don't just feel sorry for you, Darren. I hate to say, because you are starting to crowd 40. Has that dawned on you yet?
It has now.
just telling the world you're starting to crowd 40, okay? So it's the younger people than that I really feel sorry for. Younger than you. Because all these new viewers that we have don't know that I owned a high-end, and it was a high-end, gourmet pizza restaurant. You were there many times. It was wonderful. Famoso, Neapolitan Pizzeria. And I wanted to sponsor the local high school football league and give a free 12-inch pizza to the player of the game of every high school game played in the city. That was a lot of pizzas. And the local high school athletic association got back to me and said, no, we can't let you do that. And I said, why not? Giving away free pizzas to the players. If anybody's hungry and needs it, it's football players. And they said, no, because that's not fair to the baseball teams and the swim teams and the softball teams and the this teams. That's not fair. Why are we singling out the football team and not the other? Because I want to. That's why. And the head of that athletic association is a friend of mine. It probably wasn't even his decision, but they wouldn't allow us to sponsor the football league and player of the game because it wasn't fair, because not all leagues could be recognized. I'm like, oh my God. It's just not. I don't want to sponsor the swim team. You know, it's why not us? And I think that goes back to with the pride thing. You know where this all, remember the pink game? Do you remember the pink game? I was right up to my eyeballs working in sports when that came in. And can you believe people actually fought about that? You know, and we had players that took fines because they were going to wear it anyways, because my mom died of breast cancer. And the freaking league would fine them anyways because it broke a rule. And that seems like nothing now. At the time, it was a really big deal. And it's like, how can you sit here and bitch about the pink game, bringing awareness to breast cancer, for the love of God? But you do remember, maybe you don't, Darren, because you were just a pup at the time. It was a long time ago. But I remember people saying, oh, why are we honoring the pink game? Why do we got to wear pink? What are we going to wear, brown for prostate cancer month? As distasteful as that is, that was something that was said. So the best leaders, sorry to get on a tangent here, but the best leaders are the ones that don't care about that. What about this group? What about that? The best leaders don't care. This is not about Gary Bettman and the pink tape and the pride and all the rest. It's not. It's about a coach, a really good example, who is a champion in every way, Ron Estee. You've heard me talk about the Swamp Dog, Darren, ad nauseum. He was a D-line coach for the Riders, Edmonton Eskimo Hall of Fame as a player, LSU Tigers Hall of Fame D-lineman. And he was a champion because he would not accept mediocrity. And I remember, you know, Luke Mullender, it's 111, by the way, as I look at the clock, 111
just
Eastern.
Noticed.
11 Mountain. And
beautiful.
My little clock says October 11th, 11/11.
I know. I am going to land the plane. Trust me, I am. But Luke Mullender, the current radio color commentator of the Saskatchewan Roughriders and one of my closest friends, told me when he was told when he was playing, they're like, Luke, you're not playing this week. Why not? Why not? Why am I not playing? Estee put his arm around him, said, let's go for a little walk. What was your question again? Luke's like, I don't understand. Why am I not playing? Ron said, because that's what we decided. Oh, okay. You don't need a reason. This is why. Do you know what I mean? Like, you stand up and not be a wimp and just say, this is what we're doing, and if you don't like it, there's the door. The winners do that. The losers are the ones that flip-flop around and try and capitulate to whatever way the wind's blowing. That's what I think, anyways. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's important, to have strong values, right? And strong morals, and then stand for what you believe in and not let others decide for you, right? So I think that's important. And I know that's where you come from. You have strong values and morals, and that's where it's backed by. So if you want and believe that, players should be allowed to wear pride tape, don't let a few guys who don't want to do it stop you from doing what you think. If you want to have no distractions in the game, you need to find a way to do that in the right way. It's just unfortunate that the NHL has just handled this so poorly, and that all that has happened, if you didn't want controversy in the game, all we've ended up with is a bunch of controversy, right? So it just hasn't been executed very well at the end of the day.
Hey, Gary Bettman can't run the NHL by himself, and I got to tell you something. He trusts his people to any league, any organization, big ones. You need to trust your people, and I think Gary trusted his people to do certain things, and they dropped the ball on some. You got to understand, this is not, it ain't your dad's NHL. All you got to do, in Canada, it is what it is. You have all races, shapes, sizes, ages, but in a lot of ways, it's still a white league. All you got to do is look and see 90% plus players are white. End of story. And because I'm white, I can say that. So they're trying to appeal to other wider groups. And all you got to do is go to, I go to the Panthers practices at the Coral Springs Ice Den, and you see that. All shapes and sizes, but a lot more younger. That's what they're trying to attract. And lastly, because I do want to answer the sports questions here, but I'll never forget coming back from UFC for the first time. And my dad was like, how was it? I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you wouldn't believe the music was so loud. My face was shaking. It used to be back in the day, you'd go to the nightclub and your clothes would rattle on your body. Now, my face was shaking from the music. And my dad was like, oh, no, I'll never go there then. Guess what, Dad? They don't want you. See what I'm saying? So the old people that complain, the pride thing is just, that's next level, not what they intended. They kind of sit here and think, what causes does the NFL, NHL, and leagues really support now? What do they support? Off the top of my head, I can't think of too many. Raiden writes in and says, go Flames, go. The Dome will be rocking tonight. Walking it back. Greg with 2 G's writes in and says, if the Jets lose tonight, you'll hear Jets fans say, season's over. Of course, because that's fans. Somebody said if the Leafs lose tonight. Randy from Winnipeg says fans will demand the trade. And if they win, start planning the parade. That's the thing. It takes a very strong leader to either not listen to that at all or be subjected to it and not be influenced by it. And I'll get into this after the break. I'll say it again, why I think the Dallas Cowboys struggle, the Leafs struggle, the Saskatchewan Roughriders struggle, although the Riders aren't getting the pub they used to. But when the other teams get it crammed down their throat 24/7, there's nothing they want more than to beat them. That is a thing. Everybody's jealous. America's team, Canada's team, the Leafs. Well, I'm not jealous of them. I think there's a lot of people and certainly teams in the NHL that are with the hype that they get, and there's nothing they want more than to beat them. And that's not even the Leafs' fault. We talked about that a lot. So it does hurt the teams, the hype. There's no doubt. Anyways, Reed Johnson's on the way. Not next, but 2 segments from now. We'll be right back. You're live on Game Plus Television with us. WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
View Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We got some good stuff going on here today, as we always do. Real good stuff. I am in the Florida studio. Moose is in the Toronto studio. We can bring him in a moment. And, the poll question today for our friends at Key Auto Group is, which is Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? It's Week 19, and to me, it's not a surprise at all. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all the vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. There you go. Approved. 59% of you saying Sask at Calgary. 30% saying BC at Hamilton Friday. And then a couple toilet bowls. 6% saying Ottawa at Toronto. And 5% saying Montreal at Edmonton. The gentleman, Greg, with 2 Gs, watching, wrote in and asked earlier who I think will make the playoffs, Riders or Stampeders. It's just a guess here. And you obviously weren't watching yesterday, where I said all summer long in Calgary, the feeling was, and I miss Calgary, by the way. I loved it there so much. We'll be back. The feeling there was that, no, Stamps will turn it on when they have to. And before we turn our attention back to the National Hockey League, and we didn't even get into the Belichick stuff, Moose. Is Moose here? That's a dangerous game to play if you're the Stamps, Darren. Like, How do you feel about that? We'll turn it on when we have to. Or at least that was from their fans and alumni, the football people. That's the sense I got, and it's lining up for them.
It's dangerous for anybody to have that mentality in sports of, the cushion, right? It's the opposite of the burn the boat strategy, right? It's that safety net, right? Where you always have a backup plan on top of a backup plan. And when you have the backup plan, then why would you work that hard on plan A, right? Sometimes you need to think that when it's do or die, that's when you finally see what you're made of. And when you think, we'll get them next time, then you're probably not going to do very well the first time out. It's just human nature. And I don't like it. I don't think that's a great way to approach the game.
Who knows? It may not work. That eventually bites you in the butt. So when you ask me how it's going to play out, it's trending that it's going to work out for them and that it won't, and that they're going to make the playoffs and surpass Saskatchewan. I don't know what's going to happen, but sitting back and looking at it, and I love having the non-biased view. I don't really care who gets in either way. It's looking like Calgary, to answer your question. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, thankfully, I am on the back nine of life. Not just at the turn, grabbing a hot dog and a beer, but I played a few holes. Good riddance to the participation ribbon types. Pizza for everyone. Jay in Winnipeg says, who turns down free pizza? I know. Don't upset me. For those that just turned on their television and say, what's he ranting about now? I went to the local high school league and said I want to give a free pizza to the MVP of every game all year long. Don't think that didn't cost us money as the pizza restaurant. And the league said, no, we can't because that's not fair to the other leagues, the other sports in our program. I'm like, I don't care about the other sports. Well, no, we can't. It's not fair to everybody. Come on, man. The football players, they're the ones that get all the chicks. They're the cool guys. That's who I want. I don't want to sponsor the swim team.
Wait, the badminton team wasn't on the top of your list?
No. It bothered me for days. What do you mean I can't sponsor the football league? But that's the way it is now. I mean, if that would have happened when I was in high school, I would have said, yeah, I get it. I'm over here in the drama club. Nobody cares about us.
I was going to say, I played in the badminton and the football.
Moose, what's wrong with your internet? You're getting choppy there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Hey, there was some pretty hot girls played on the badminton team, though. I'll say that. 902-518-3033. I'm sorry. I told you to keep me on track, and you failed. Miserably.
I was never winning that battle.
Yeah, people have been trying to do that for years, which reminds me. They're talking about Brendan Malone, the first ever coach of the Raptors. Passed away at the age of 81 last night. Condolences to his family. And they talked about him being an architect of Chuck Daly's Pistons defense in the 90s. And I'll never forget, it was Chuck Daly. I think you know this, Darren. Chuck Daly said, and it was in The Last Dance, when they were trying to control Dennis Rodman. Remember what they said? Chuck Daly said, you don't put a saddle on the Mustang. Just let him go. So I asked you to put a saddle on me today, and you're just like, just let him go. Am I right on that?
That's pretty much it. Everybody else has been trying. What makes you think that I'm going to be successful all of a sudden?
No, you can't. You can't. Randolph in Toronto says, even the swim team didn't expect free pizza. Right? Go ask the kids. Don't even get me started. And thank you, Randolph. But that's another reason I largely getting over this, but that's why I don't want to work in commercial radio. Sorry, Rhino Radio. I don't want to work in commercial television, commercial media, because we used to have a policy at the radio station where the last one that I worked at before WQEE that said you couldn't take off vacation during ratings. That was the policy. Have you heard of that policy, Darren?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense a little bit.
Okay.
A little, like I kind of understand, yeah.
It made perfect sense to my bosses. But the ratings were 2 months in the spring and 2 months in the fall. Rough Riders would open training camp June 1st, and I would work every single day around the calendar up until the end of hockey season, which with the Pats, we always missed the playoffs. So let's say March 31st. I generally had no days off from June 1st to March 31st. So one day, I wanted to go to Vegas for one of the kids' basketball tournaments, our kids' basketball tournaments. And nope, boss said, nope, we're in ratings. I just officially snapped. Serena and I talk about it all the time. Everybody eventually has a breaking point. Just say, write it down. Eventually, everybody has a breaking point. And that day was mine. And the guy's name was Willie Cole. You know him. This might surprise you. But Willie's like, no, you can't take holidays because we're in ratings. And I said, take your ratings and shove them up your ass. I'm going to Vegas. And he's like, no, it's a policy. I don't care about your policy. I'm going to Vegas. And if you don't like it, find the new sports director. If Willie's watching right now, he will verify. I'm on national television here. It happened. And he goes, well, that's not fair to the other announcers and the other DJs because they don't get to take. I said, go ask them. Go ask them. Willie, I'll wait if they have a problem. Colin Lovequist, Jim Smalley, all these. They've seen me working my ass off since June 1st for the last 9 months without a day off. And in the end, I got to go to Vegas. Because again, I don't care about the other people. Don't pull this political office BS on me. You're not keeping me in line.
Hot damn.
Winnipeg Jets at Calgary Flames.
Yes.
I'm trying to, the Flames are favored by 1.5 goals. I'm sitting here going, as two teams that we watch very closely, both off-season, during the season, I would have a tough time. But what have I said to you? It's always 1.5 goals in any hockey game. I defy you to find point spread more than 1.5 goals in any hockey game. But and the only tipping the scale here is that it's the home opener with a new coach, and I will go with the Flames simply because on emotion and their home. Jets will win their home opener, and we'll split it and call it even. What do you think?
No, I think this is a really, really, like, run to Bet Regal and put your change on the Jets. That's what I would do at 1.5 goals. Not that I don't think the Flames will win, but I don't think they'll win by 2. I think something's happening in Winnipeg. Scheifele, Hellebuck signing. I think there's some renewed, like, it just feels like there's the smog has lifted and there's clean, fresh air and everything's happy in Winnipeg right in time for the opener. So I think this is going to be a really close game, probably a 1-goal game. So that's why I would bet on the Jets at 1.5 goals.
Well, I don't agree that the fog's clearing in Winnipeg. Maybe in the dressing room. But I think the comment from Jay here from Winnipeg is proof enough that it's not. They're always going to be down on the coach and the team there. I don't know why. But I'm also not going to give it the time of day. But I'll say that I got the Flames to win tonight on emotion. They have more at stake than the Jets, being their home opener and all the reasons I just said. Oilers are at Vancouver tonight, and I think this could get really ugly. And a real fun question could be this. You saw it on our Instagram story the other day. Everybody go give us a follow on our social media at The Rod Pedersen Show on Instagram and on Twitter at Rod Pedersen Show. I said over under 300 points for McDavid and Draisaitl combined. Serena said way under. I said I wouldn't go that far. McDavid had 150 last year. What do you think? Over under 300 points, McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, I'll take the under. I don't think they're both going to get there, but I would think if you ask me on just McDavid alone, I would take the over on 150 points. I think he'll do it again and ride this. I think they're going to be really good. I think they'll be close. I'd say over 250, but I don't know if I'd go over 300 on that one. This will be a good game. Vancouver, they don't know who's going to play tonight. Apparently everybody's hurt. They're all sick. There's the flu bug going around. They don't know if they got to make roster moves. There's a lot of problems in Vancouver. This won't be a great one, I don't think, for them tonight.
That's why I'm saying. Well, that's why I'm saying it could get ugly. Vancouver at full health, it would get ugly. Yeah. Looking at the Oilers favored by 1.5. Again, I defy you to find a hockey game where the odd point spread is more than a goal and a half. But I'll say this. I was reading an article on the Golden Knights and why they won. And I think it was an Oiler addressing it. It might have been Draisaitl. He said depth at every position. They beat us in the playoffs because they rolled 4 lines and you couldn't tell the difference between their first line and their fourth line. And I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? And over there in Edmonton, they got all the money tied up in McDavid and Draisaitl. You know, and it's specifically the Leafs.
Yeah.
And the only way that Vegas did that, obviously, with their high-priced guys. And in Vegas, who they don't have. Are we putting Jack Eichel in that category?
Well,
of the McDavids and the Matthewses?
I think maybe just a half step below. The one thing about Vegas that I thought was really wild is we sat here all offseason and said they're not going to be able to keep everybody together. They've got salary cap issues. This is going to be a problem. They're going to take a step back. The only guy that's not back is Riley Smith. They brought everybody else back to take another run at it. So they got something going on that's pretty good in Vegas.
Well, we're going there next. Moose, thanks for all this today. Thanks for keeping me in line, or at least trying to. Have a great day.
You too.
Reed Johnson joins us from the Markcast next from Sin City. He was at the Golden Knights Kraken game last night. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
My name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP show continues, and get in the fast lane, Granny. The NHL season is underway. Last night, the Vegas Golden Knights staged a crowd-pleasing show before their NHL season opener, and then continued to entertain as they defeated the visiting Seattle Kraken 4-1 in the Fortress after raising the Stanley Cup banner at T-Mobile Arena. The Golden Knights went to work on a new campaign with Ivan Barbashev, Jonathan Marchessault, Chandler Stevenson, and Jack Eichel scoring goals for Vegas. Jared McCann netted Seattle's lone goal. Our good friend Reed Johnson from the Mark cast out of Seattle was there, sent me a pic, and he's there again. What's going on, Reed? How are things, brother?
There you go. Talk about production value out here in front of T-Mobile Arena just for you, Rod.
I appreciate that. Just to your right is New York, da, 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 da. Yeah, he got everything flipped. I think you do. Yeah,
I'm reversed.
Reed,
yeah, I have no idea.
Did you say it was a bad game last night? Is that what you told me in our text this morning?
It was tough. I mean, Kraken came out really messy. Obviously, we had the tandem turnover with Marchessault knocking it in and having a 5-minute power play on a major penalty and not being able to get any goals at all is certainly not the way that you want the season to start.
Did you feel like you never had a chance going in, though? Because it was the Fortress. I mean, how was the show? How was it all besides the game?
Yeah, so this is the third time we've been to Vegas. I've yet to see the Kraken beat the Golden Knights here. Really good show last night, raising the banner, like you said. Packed stands, sold out. We were up in the rafters, 4th row up there, and it was crazy. I mean, Vegas is a hockey town. A lot of locals here. You can tell a lot of people that are very emotional, kind of, this 6-year journey they've been on with the Golden Knights.
Do you sense a rivalry between the Kraken and Golden Knights as expansion cousins, or was that something I played up in my own head?
100%. They're going to be in Seattle for our Winter Classic game. New Year's, we have tickets for that at T-Mobile Park, which is, funny, a T-Mobile Arena here. But we have tickets for that. That'll be, I think between Edmonton and Seattle, I think have a nice thing going on. And I definitely think Vegas and Seattle have a good rivalry brewing.
Okay, so back it up. Where did the Oilers-Kraken rivalry come from? How did I miss that?
They came in and really pantsed us in the middle of the season last year. Came in, I think it was 3-0 before Dorothy had even gotten a beer and got to our seat. And so we went up and we beat them on our big road trip where we had that 7-8 road trip game winning streak in a row all the way through Canada, through Buffalo. But, we got Yamamoto from the Oilers. He scored against them in preseason when we played a couple weeks ago, and then Edmonton beating us in our last preseason game. So that, to me, is something to keep an eye on. And then, like you said, the Golden Knights, certainly here in the Winter Classic game, I'm scared because we paid a lot of money for those tickets for kind of the once in a lifetime in Seattle, but it should be excited to see.
Well, just back to last night for a second. I don't know what you paid for last night's games. I think Vegas has the most expensive tickets in the NHL. But at least were you able to keep an eye on Jordan Eberle? I see he had 1 assist, was -1, and 3 shots on goal, and 2 hits. How was Ebbs last night?
He's good. There's Saskatchewan legend. Excited to see, our first line really didn't do a lot. Beniers had a slow night as well. Really wanted to see McCann. I know he had the goal, but really sloppy for us in front of the net. Was really hard to get any momentum going. And like I said, Tanev getting the turnover with Marchand knocking it in. He took a stick, a cross check to the head in the third that gave us the power play. But, obviously we start slow. We've never won our first game, either the first season or last year. I have never lost 2 in a row here starting out. So hopefully we'll be better off when we go to Nashville on Thursday.
You mentioned Vegas is a hockey town, and clearly it is, and the Raiders have been unable to supplant them, interestingly enough. How is Seattle? I always knew it was a hockey town. I went there for 20 years in the Western Hockey League. I loved it, but those junior fans don't like paying NHL prices. So in year 3 of the Kraken, how's hockey and NHL going over in the Emerald City?
It's good. Climate Pledge is a really special place to play. Haskell talks about that a lot. A lot of the players, speaking of Jordan Eberle, he had talked in the offseason that he wants to, basically retire with Seattle, doesn't want to play anywhere else, loves playing it there. I think the deep Stanley Cup run, making it to the second round last year really helped. It felt like Kraken finally got on the radar of everyone. We sat through a lot of losses in season 1 as season ticket holders, so it was kind of good. Obviously, with these short franchises, same with the Golden Knights. I mean, 6 years to host the Stanley Cup in a lifetime compared to some of these teams. But I do think the deep run last year really helped supplant the Kraken and kind of the mindset of the casual fan in Seattle.
Well, I don't know anybody in Seattle more happy than you that the Kraken are there. And I do know a lot of people in Seattle. Like, they've worked your way into your heart very quickly, haven't they?
Yeah, it really, well, I think what was cool was us getting the Kraken. Everyone kind of learned about hockey together, right? It's hard for me. I'd watched a couple Golden Knights games, obviously, with the expansion, but really just having a team, it's so much easier to root for. Having it where it is, Climate Pledge Arena downtown there, kind of in the mix of everything. It's just really like on the cultural forefront right now, I think, in Seattle. It's pretty exciting.
But your heart is still with football. Were you just up at the Lions game you're all over the man. People say I'm hard to keep track of. You're far more hard to keep track of than me.
I'm done.
What are you following?
I'm done traveling. Done traveling was in BC Place for the overtime loss against Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Friday. And then obviously here today, last night with the loss. But yeah, I'm done traveling for a while for sports. A couple heartbreakers, but BC Place was really rocking on Friday for that game. And, you've talked on the show about Amar Doman and all the work they've done up there with Matt Baker and everyone with the BC Lions. But really tremendous job with that. And that place was rocking on Friday also.
What do you like about the CFL, Reed? If you could boil it down to something.
To me, it's always the community outreach, right? And it's the fact, and to me, it's a similar feeling to hockey, right? You feel like you have ownership in your community, right? We talk, Vegas here, the local fans with the Golden Knights, Seattle with the Kraken. It's the same thing. You're in BC, it's rocking. We were in Regina last year for the Grey Cup. You feel like the team is just really a part of your community. And I think that's what I like most about it, and seeing these players that might never get a chance in the NFL succeed, be stars. You look here, Vernon Adams, playing lights out this year, playing the best season of his life. Really cool to kind of track all these players and feel like you know them.
Well, okay, I'm glad that you gave me that answer, because I'm sitting here in Miami and I love my situation in life. I'm arm's length from the Dolphins, and I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Like, the no fun league, the pressure, the ugly side of the NFL, I want nothing to do with. I just want to root, and not get into the politics. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I have yet to see that side that I hear is there, but I don't want to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just fun. It's fun to be a part of. And, obviously you talk about the problems with the CFL. We talk about it. There's all these issues. And same goes for the XFL and the USFL. And, God knows what's going on with all that. But it's, when it boils down to it, it's fun. Dorothy's involved. We get to go. It's a packed crowd at BC Place on the Friday, 25,000 people. Just fun to be a part of it and be a fan. I mean, I do the podcast as well, but it's kind of nice to turn your brain off to just be able to watch and root.
I think you just nailed it. As a guy that buys tickets everywhere, the affordability of the CFL is probably number one, where you do have that community and you can afford to go to every game. What's up for the rest of your trip? You heading back right away, or what's the deal?
Yeah, heading back here. We'll probably go get lunch. My friend Michael's standing by here, and then flying down and back again. Like I said, probably done traveling here, getting my heart broken for some of these games. But excited to watch the Kraken. We have tickets to the home opener next week on the 17th, so we'll be watching that. We're hosting Colorado, so what we did to them in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year.
Buddy, thanks for stepping in. My best to Dorothy, and I appreciate it. And enjoy the sports. We'll be chatting soon.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Reed Johnson, he's a good one from the Mark Cast out of Seattle, joining us, as you see, from Sin City. Overtime is next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Here we go, everybody. It is, as we say, overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes, and I was adding it up today, and I'll be making a post about it from my social media coming up, but I'm so thankful and grateful for our friendships and relationships made in Calgary. I'm looking forward to getting back, but that includes Overtime Hockey Lanes. I smile because I love it so much. It is, as we've mentioned many times, an amusement park for hockey players where skill and fun collide, 28th Street Northeast. And I see that you folks are taking advantage of the opportunity, what I've encouraged you to do. Office parties, staff parties, team building events. They have a licensed bar there. What more do you want? Overtime Hockey Lanes, again, where skill and fun collide. We appreciate the partnership. Adding it all up, Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Ace Casino, Century Downs Casino, Hockey Canada, Common Crown Brewing, which reminds me I got to do a sports update here. Calgary's been awesome. And for that reason, I think they'll win tonight over the Winnipeg Jets. No, I think due to the wave of the emotion, the new coach, all the players wanted Daryl Sutter gone. You better put up, guys, tonight. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in. She says, I'm excited for the Oilers tonight. Pats take on the Hitmen tonight, too. Thank God I have Sportsnet on my phone so I can watch between whistles. Thank you, Jen, for pointing that out. I just saw the tweet here from Access Now Sports. They're a sponsor of me personally, Access Television, and they have announced that Daniela Ponticelli will be the first female to broadcast a game on television in Western Hockey League history. And I've been in tonight when the Pats take on the Medicine Hat Tigers. And I appreciate this. Access, the Western League, they've all, they got a hold of me yesterday because somehow they knew she wasn't the first female to broadcast a dub game. Serena was. How about that? And thank you, Clark, if you had any involvement in informing in that. I had a sneaking suspicion you did. But Daniela, it's true, is the first ever to do it on, was the first ever to do it on television. So bravo, Daniela. Go, Pats, go. John in Edmonton has written in 37 times about this. He says, Rod, what do you think of the Edmonton Elks closing the upper sections of the stadium next season? I really have no thoughts other than they'll have it closed until such time as they need to open it. Again, like BC Place has done. Other than that, I don't really care. Jeff Gordon writes in, thank you, Jeff, from the Rod Squad. He says, good for Daniela. Enjoyed her on the call-in show after Rider games. Well, she's not dead. I think she's still going to do that, too. Colin from Ottawa says, the Mark Cast is a great show, and Reed is a great interviewer. Yes, he is, and above all, I like Reed's energy. That's why I have him on the show as often as we do. We namaste. Colin in Ottawa says, I love that Vegas had that huge slot machine that showed 3 Stanley Cups after the captain, Mark Stone, pulled the huge lever. So cool. I mean, that's the other thing. I see it. I hear it more before I came to Florida. You don't hear it as much here because there's not as much hockey talk. But in Canada, you heard about all the other NHL teams that hated the Golden Knights. And I didn't understand it. It's like, why are you hating them? They're doing it differently. Yes, but they're winning. Oh, that's why you hate them, because they're winning. They do things differently. They've reached the top of the mountain. And if that comes with hate, you're going to be a hater, I guess. One more from Colin. He says, wow, Vegas fans have waited a whole 6 years to raise a Stanley Cup banner. That must be tough. Well, to them it is, because as they say, you can't miss what you never had. They didn't know what it was like to have an NHL team before. So you don't have a Stanley Cup in Ottawa. They don't have one in Vancouver, and they didn't have one in Vegas. I know what you're saying, but they're now not in that club anymore. And how much does that suck for the Ottawas and the Vancouvers? And who else doesn't have a Stanley Cup? You know what I'm talking about. Used to be St. Louis. They're out of that. Minnesota Wild, Nashville. Before I jump back into the comments, at my own peril, sports update here. Longtime NHL executive Brian Burke says the league's decision to ban on-ice support for community causes, which includes the use of rainbow-colored stick tape on Pride nights, is, quote, a surprising and serious setback, unquote. The NHL sent a memo to teams last week clarifying what players can and cannot do as part of theme celebrations this season, and the memo updated guidance on player uniforms and gear for warm-up and official team practices cannot be altered to reflect theme nights. Burke, who is now the executive director of the Professional Women's Hockey League Players Association, said on social media that he is, quote, deeply disappointed by the league's decision. Now, if you missed this off the top of the show, I don't need to defend the NHL. They got a lot of guys that could do that. The Darren Dragers, the Elliot Friedmans, the Bob McKenzies, all the guys on NHL now, the Kevin Weeks, they can defend the NHL. So all I will say on their behalf is they're not anti-gay, they're anti-controversy. And if this was up to Bettman, he would never have allowed this to happen in the first place. Somebody wrote in here early and said, what is the NHL all about? What are their causes? Making money. That's the world we live in, guys. You got to understand that's where we're at. Making money is king. The Houston Astros can join the Texas Rangers in the ALCS with a win over the Minnesota Twins tonight. The Twins, who swept the Jays in the wild card round, are down 2-0 in the best of 5. In the National League, the Arizona Diamondbacks can sweep the LA Dodgers with a win tonight in Phoenix, and the Atlanta Braves visit the Philadelphia Phillies with that series tied 1 each. The sports update for Common Crown Brewing Company. They got the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale. 4 of them sit below the 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Go down and check them out, 28th Street Northeast in Calgary, 3 blocks away from Overtime Hockey Lanes. And tell them we sent you. Check out their beer, enjoy it, and get back to us. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. AJ's going to be with us from Ottawa and more. Noon Eastern here on Game Plus and Key Radio. Who has more fun than us?